I have another question for you.
Mhm.
You said so that our external environment will affect our sense of safety and security. So that's obviously really evident in dealing with the consequences of the coronavirus. How do you think this relates to our audience?
The effects of the coronavirus. Well, what I've done is I've thought about what's coming up in my work at the moment. So I've made a list here, and you'll see that I am reading from some of my notes because I don't want to overlook some of the points. But what I'm hearing from my clients and in the news, of course, is the pressure of engaging with children all day long and becoming their teachers. And there's a change in roles taking place. Whenever we have transitions, everything changes. Human nature does not adapt to change. And this has been put on us in a very rapidly. It's shocking, actually. I don't think it's too much of a stretch to say that this has all been a shock. And I use that word, which I again come back to. Seeing the impact on our children of the sudden change in their routine, I've seen with one of our little grandchildren that, I think he's a bit confused why he's not seeing his granddad. And he's ignoring him. He's turning his back on the phone, and that's his way of saying, I don't know what's going on. I don't know why I'm not seeing you. I mean, how sad. They're missing their playmates. They're but tragically, those that can't get outside or in very limited ways. How lucky are we if we have a garden or a woodland close by? But that is denying children their need to move. It's so important. Then there's the fear of illness. There's the fear of death of those close to us. And then just worrying about money, about work, security of one's job, and housing. The other thing is that I have a few clients who work in the NHS, and that's brought up, as I'm sure it does for other reasons, conflicts of values. When we're not in crisis, there's nothing's perfect. But when we're in crisis, the things that aren't perfect become so exaggerated. And what I've seen is that there's been real dialogues and difficulties around different value systems, depending on what job. If somebody's at the front at the front line of supporting patients, and then they're coming home and being with their partners and their children, I think that the clash of value systems becomes evident. And of course, this can all be talked about. Because what we're talking about here also is a lack of control. And going back to that idea of safety and security, we all need a degree of control over our lives. And that's essential. And what's happened now is that we're in a place where so much is out of our control. And I have spent time with most of my clients talking about how do they create that control. So it can be created, and I can come on to that.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing, because actually going back to Marshall Rosenberg's needs, power and autonomy is kind of a vital human need. And often when children are misbehaving, it's because they lack that control and power in their lives.
You know that a lot from your work, Rebecca, with parents and their parenting. Yes, it's not where I work. Obviously, one talks about parenting, but that's your area of that's your work, isn't it?
Yes. Thank you.